The highway stretched empty under the fading Maine twilight. Arthur Henderson, a 72-year-old woodworker with hands worn by decades of craftsmanship, eased his pickup onto the gravel shoulder. Then a sound. Not the wind, not the trees. A whimper, tiny, desperate. His headlights revealed a shivering lump of fur, no bigger than his palm. Blue eyes, wide with terror, locked onto his. Behind it, a dark stain on the asphalt told a story Arthur didn't need to hear. This kitten wasn't just lost. It was alone. And the woods? They don't forgive weakness. Arthur's fishing trips were his escape. Just him, the lake, and the silence. But tonight, the silence broke. That tiny cry yanked him from his thoughts like a hook to the heart. He knelt, flannel sleeves scraping the gravel, and reached out. The creature hissed or tried to. Pitiful squeak. Up close, it wasn't a house cat. Tufted ears, oversized paws, and those eyes wild but pleading. Arthur glanced at the stain again. Ain't nobody comin' for you, little one. His calloused hands scooped it up. The kitten went limp, too weak to fight. The stain was fresh, too fresh. Arthur's gut twisted. Car hit the mama, he muttered. No siblings, no den nearby. Just this one survivor, clinging to the roadside like a burr. Its ribs jutted under patchy fur. Martha would kill him. Their house already had 3 cats. Royalty, she called them. But this was wild. The kitten trembled in his jacket, its heartbeat frantic as a trapped bird. Arthur sighed. Ain't your fault the world's cruel. The truck door creaked shut. The engine roared. And just like that, the woods faded in the rear view. Martha Henderson stood in the kitchen, cinnamon rolls cooling on the counter, when Arthur walked in, holding something. Arthur Eugene Henderson, what in heavens? The bundle in his jacket moved. 2 blue eyes peeked out. Found him on Route 15, Arthur grunted. Martha didn't hesitate. She snatched the kitten, cradling it like a newborn. It reeked of mud and fear. Look at these ears, these paws. He's half-starved. Arthur opened his mouth, wild animal, vet bills, the other cats, but Martha cut him off. We're keeping him. No debate. Just love. Dr. Simmons' clinic smelled of antiseptic and kibble. The kitten, now swaddled in Martha's dish towel, squirmed on the exam table. The vet adjusted his glasses. Well, this explains the ears. A pause. Arthur, that's a bobcat. Martha gasped. A what? The vet traced the kitten's stubby tail. Lynx rufus, probably 6 weeks old. Mothers? Arthur shook his head. Dr. Simmons sighed. Wildlife rehab's swamped. They'll euthanize him. Martha's grip tightened. The kitten purred, a sound like a diesel engine. His name's Rusty, she said. And he's coming home. The truck ride home was silent. Rusty slept in Martha's lap, belly full of formula. Arthur white-knuckled the wheel. Marty, he'll grow big. Claws, teeth. What about the others? Daisy, Marshmallow, Oliver. Their 3 Maine Coons ruled the house with iron paws. Martha stroked Rusty's tufted ears. He's a baby, Arthur. He'll learn. The vet's warning echoed. Instinct always wins. But Martha saw the way Rusty nuzzled her hand. Wild didn't mean heartless. Arthur exhaled. All right, but when he eats the couch, you explain it to Daisy. The Henderson house smelled of pine and catnip. 3 pairs of eyes glared from the sofa as Martha set Rusty down. Daisy, the calico queen, lifted her nose. Marshmallow puffed up like a snowball. Oliver, the ginger daredevil, hissed. Rusty froze. These weren't woods. No trees to climb. No prey to chase. Just fluff. So much fluff. Martha held her breath. Would he attack? Flee? Rusty wobbled forward and sneezed. Oliver jumped. Daisy sighed. Marshmallow fainted. And Rusty? He plopped onto his belly, tail twitching. Round 1, house 1, wild 0. Daisy was elegance incarnate. A calico with a tail like a feather boa and opinions sharper than Martha's sewing scissors. Marshmallow, her polar opposite, was a drama king. One speck of dirt? Scandal. And Oliver? Pure chaos. If it could be climbed, knocked over, or unraveled, he'd done it. Now they faced their greatest challenge. Rusty. Daisy inspected him like a disapproving ant. Marshmallow sniffed his fur. EW outdoors. Oliver. He pounced. Rusty yelped. A tangle of limbs, a flying tuft of ginger fur, and just like that, the war was on. It was over in seconds. Oliver lunged. Rusty rolled, paws batting the air. Daisy arched her back. Marshmallow yowled like he'd been murdered. Enough! Martha scooped Rusty up. Oliver, undeterred, dangled from the curtains. Rusty's eyes? Huge. What even are these creatures? Martha sighed. Welcome to the family, kid. That night, Rusty slept in a laundry basket, alone. The Maine Coons took the bed. But as Martha turned out the light, a tiny thump. Oliver, ever the rebel, had curled up beside him. Truce? Or trap? Time would tell. Morning came. Rusty stumbled into the kitchen, tripping over his own paws. Daisy blocked his path. Marshmallow turned his back. Even Oliver, last night's almost friend, ignored him. The message was clear. You don't belong. Rusty's ears drooped. He slunk to the corner, tail tucked. Martha's heart cracked. Give him time, Arthur murmured. But time didn't stop the whimpers from Rusty's makeshift bed that night, or the way he stared at the others, longing. Wild blood, domestic life, and one question, where do I fit? The house fell silent. No crickets, no wind, just the hum of the refrigerator. Rusty curled tighter in his laundry basket bed, ears twitching at every creak. This wasn't the woods. No mother's warmth, no siblings to huddle with. Down the hall, the Maine Coons sprawled across Martha's quilt, tails draped over each other. A whimper escaped Rusty's throat. Then, footsteps. Arthur appeared, gruffly tucking an old flannel around him. Easy, partner. The fabric smelled like sawdust and safety. For the first time, Rusty slept without dreaming of teeth. Martha set down 4 bowls. 4. Daisy sniffed hers daintily. Marshmallow licked a single kibble. Oliver, face first, chewing like a wood chipper. Then there was Rusty. One glance at the food, and he launched, paws skidding on linoleum, sending a tidal wave of kibble across the kitchen. Holy! Arthur ducked as a piece bounced off his forehead. Marshmallow froze. A single crumb stuck to his nose. Utter disgrace. Rusty sat in the wreckage, tail thumping. Martha pressed a hand to her mouth. Was that a grin? Some lessons take time. Table manners? Maybe tomorrow. Daisy had standards. Ambushes required finesse. She demonstrated from the couch. Slow stalk, twitching tail, then pounce. Rusty watched, mesmerized. His attempt? Less ballet, more bull in a china shop. He barreled across the rug, tripped over his own paws, and face-planted into Martha's knitting basket. Yarn exploded. Daisy sighed. Marshmallow fainted again. But Oliver, he cheered, tackling Rusty mid-scramble. 2 rolling furballs, a toppled lamp, and Martha's boys, echoing down the hall. Daisy licked her paw. Some students were hopeless, but at least he was enthusiastic. The vacuum cleaner was a monster. It roared. It ate socks. And today, it dared invade Rusty's kingdom. The Maine Coons vanished. Oliver under the bed, Daisy on the fridge, Marshmallow somehow inside the pantry. Not Rusty. He crouched, tail lashing. Martha didn't see him, not until a streak of fur launched at the hose. Rusty, no! Too late. Claws out. He rode that vacuum like a bucking bronco, yowling his battle cry. Arthur found Martha clutching the wall, laughing too hard to breathe. Well, he deadpanned. Guess we're mopping forever now. Oliver made it look easy, scaling the drapes, perching like a tiny lion. Rusty had to try. He jumped, hooked the fabric. For one glorious second he was winning, then rip. The rod groaned. The curtains screamed. And down came Rusty, tangled in floral chintz, crash landing in the potted fern. Silence. Then Marshmallow's offended gasp. Oliver peeked from the wreckage, whiskers twitching. "You're banished," Daisy decreed. Martha just stared. Arthur handed her a margarita. Early happy hour? Marshmallow's tail was magnificent. Fluffy, pristine, washed thrice daily. So when Rusty's stubby tail whapped it mid-groom? Scandal. Marshmallow recoiled like he'd been slapped. "You barbarian." He spent the next hour salvaging his masterpiece, shooting Rusty withering glares. Rusty, oblivious, wagged his nub, thump thump thump, knocking over a photo frame. Daisy facepawed. Oliver cackled. And Marshmallow? He draped himself over the highest shelf, muttering about standards and uncivilized heathens. Some things, it seemed, were sacred. That tail was a menace. Short, yes, but powerful. A coffee table trembled as Rusty spun, nub whacking a mug. Crash. Martha's crossword puzzle? Swiped mid-sip. Even Daisy, ever graceful, got smacked in the face during a nap. "Rusty," she growled. He blinked innocently. Then thwack. Oliver took a hit and cheered, tackling him. They became a blur of fur and destruction. A living tornado. Arthur sipped his tea, watching Martha's eye twitch. "We could have gotten a goldfish," he mused. Too late now. Oliver lived for spectacle. The fridge top, conquered. The shower curtain, a slide. Now he had an audience. Rusty watched, wide-eyed, as Oliver scaled the bookshelf, leaped, and stuck the landing on the wobbling ceiling fan. "Ta-da!" Martha screamed. Arthur lunged. The fan creaked, and Oliver grinned. Rusty's paws itched. He took a running start, and oh, but it was too late. 2 cats, 1 fan, and a crash that shook the house. Silence. Then a single MRRP from the rubble. Some lessons had to be learned the hard way. The Maine Coons were artists of discretion. Rusty? A hurricane. Martha discovered the aftermath. Litter splattered up the walls, paw prints leading to the couch, and Rusty, proudly, digging like he'd struck gold. Marshmallow gagged. Daisy left. Oliver, ever the opportunist, rolled in it. "Rusty!" Martha groaned. He blinked, flinging another wave of sand. Arthur appeared, took one look, and wordlessly fetched the broom. "Maybe an outdoor litter box?" Martha eyed Rusty's muddy paws. "Or a mop factory. Some messes couldn't be fixed, only survived." It happened at dusk. Rusty, curled in Martha's lap after a long day of chaos, finally relaxed. Then a sound, deep, guttural, like a motorcycle idling. Martha froze. Was he? The vibration rattled her knees. Daisy's head snapped up. Marshmallow dropped his grooming brush. Even Oliver stopped mid-zoom. Rusty purred, eyes slitted in bliss, his whole body thrumming. Martha's eyes welled up. "Oh, sweetheart," Arthur smirked. "Sounds like a lawnmower." But Martha knew the truth. That wasn't just a purr. It was a promise. He was home. The sunbeam was sacred. Daisy's throne, Marshmallow's vanity mirror, Oliver's crash pad. When Rusty dared to inch closer, 3 tails snapped upright. Daisy blocked him with a single outstretched paw. "This spot? Reserved." Rusty wilted. He slunk to the cold hardwood, watching from the shadows as the others dozed in a perfect, fluffy pile. Martha's heart ached. But then, Oliver cracked one eye open. A pause, a sigh, and with a dramatic flop, he left just enough space. Fine, but no drooling. Midnight. The house slept. Rusty's whines were barely audible. Just shaky breaths and the scritch of claws on basket edges. He didn't belong here. Didn't belong there. The woods whispered in his dreams. "You're not one of them." A floorboard creaked. Martha appeared, her robe bathed in moonlight. No words, just arms lifting him, carrying him to their bed. Daisy huffed. Marshmallow scooted over. And for the first time, Rusty slept surrounded. Not by trees, but by heartbeats. Martha's hands told stories. Kneading dough, stitching quilts, now tracing Rusty's tufted ears. "Shoo, wild thing," she murmured. His fur was damp with tears she'd never admit to seeing. Arthur snored softly beside them. Outside, the wind howled. Inside, Rusty nuzzled her palm, his jagged purr rumbling like a storm rolling out. Funny, Martha thought. She'd raised 3 kids, dozens of cats. But this was different. This was choosing to love something that might never be tame. And yet, here they were. It happened on a Tuesday. Rusty, cautious, stretched one paw into the sunbeam. Daisy eyed it, marshmallowed sked. But Oliver, always Oliver, flopped onto his back, belly up, inviting. Rusty froze. Then, inch by inch, he curled beside him. Daisy exhaled. If you must. Marshmallow begrudgingly tossed a tail over Rusty's back. Purely for warmth, obviously. Arthur snapped a photo. Martha cried into her coffee. And the sunbeam? It stretched just wide enough for 4. Daisy's tongue was a privilege, reserved for Oliver's rare good behavior and Marshmallow's weekly existential crises. So when she paused mid-groom, locked eyes with Rusty, and licked his forehead, the room held its breath. Rusty's eyes widened. Marshmallow gasped. Oliver cheered. She likes you. Daisy simply returned to her paw, as if she hadn't just rewritten the rules. But the way Rusty's chest puffed up? Priceless. Some things didn't need words. Queen had spoken. Marshmallow's official decree came via slow blink. You're crude. You smell like outside. But, aside, you did scare that horrid dog. Rusty tilted his head. Marshmallow flicked his tail. Don't make me regret this. And with that, he presented his flank for grooming, the ultimate peace treaty. Rusty's attempt was enthusiastic. Read. Slobbery. Marshmallow's eye twitched. We'll work on it. The red dot was evil. Rusty knew this. Oliver's cackles confirmed it. Almost. Got it, psych. Rusty skidded into the wall. You're dead, his growl promised. The chase that followed? Legendary. Up the couch, over the table, through Martha's knitting project, yarn trailing like crime scene tape. Arthur sipped his coffee. Should we stop him? Martha shook her head. Rusty's eyes sparkled. Oliver's grin was pure mischief. Some bonds were built in chaos. He'd seen the others do it, gentle bumps to ankles, cheeks. Rusty's version? More like a love tackle. Martha yelped as his full weight collided with her shin. Rusty. But his purr could have powered a small town. Daisy facepawed. Subtlety. Look it up. Rusty just beamed, nuzzling Martha's knee hard enough to bruise. Fine, she thought, scratching his ears. We'll call it progress. The German shepherd's bark shattered the afternoon. The Maine Coons scattered. But Rusty? He stood his ground. Lips curled, fur on end, a growl building like thunder. The dog hesitated. Rusty lunged not to attack, but to block the porch stairs. His house, his family. One snarl, raw with wild instinct, and the shepherd fled. Inside, 3 pairs of eyes watched, wide. Daisy's whisper was reverent. Okay, that was cool. No purrs, no headbutts, just silence as Rusty padded back inside, fur still bristling. Marshmallow broke first, pressing his forehead to Rusty's shoulder. Oliver followed, tail hooking Rusty's like a pinky swear. Daisy? She simply nodded. And just like that, the hierarchy shifted. Martha clutched Arthur's arm. Did you see? He squeezed her hand. Yeah. Some things didn't need words. A bobcat had become a brother. Daisy had spent a lifetime perfecting her aloofness. But as Rusty stood between them and the snarling dog, teeth bared, growl rumbling deep in his chest, something shifted. The way he held his ground. The way he didn't need to attack, just dared the threat to come closer. Marshmallow trembled behind her. Oliver, for once, was silent. And Daisy? She felt something unfamiliar, pride. Not just for him. In him. She stepped forward, brushing against his side. No words. Just a quiet, "We see you." Dr. Simmons adjusted his glasses, staring at Rusty, now nearly 20 pounds of muscle and tufted ears, curled between Daisy and Oliver on the exam table. "You do realize," he said slowly, "he's imprinted on you. Thinks he's one of them." Martha's hand found Rusty's head. He is one of them. The vet sighed. If you release him now. Arthur cut him off. Ain't happening. A beat. Then Rusty licked the vet's stethoscope. Well, Doc muttered. Guess that settles it. The words hung in the air like frost. Can't survive. Wouldn't last a week. Martha traced Rusty's scars. The nicks from curtain rods. The faded claw marks from Oliver's wrestling. This was his life now. Sunbeams. Kibble. Headbutts at 3 a.m. No stalking prey. No den in the pines. Just them. Rusty chirped, nudging her hand, oblivious to the weight of the moment. Oh, baby, she whispered. What have we done to you? But his purr was her answer. Some cages were made of love. The guilt came at night. Had they stolen his wildness? Rusty slept between Oliver and Marshmallow now. Belly up, paws twitching in dreams of who knew what. Martha cried into Arthur's shoulder. If we hadn't picked him up, he'd be dead, Arthur said simply. And this, he pointed to the pile of fur on the rug. This is living. Rusty's ear flicked. Like he knew. Like he chose them anyway. The county wildlife officer left pamphlets. Liability. Natural instincts. Danger. Arthur shoved them in the junk drawer. Ain't negotiable. That night he built Rusty a real cat tree, thick posts, reinforced platforms. Martha caught him sanding the edges just so. For his claws, he grunted. No more words. None needed. The way Rusty barreled into him, nearly knocking him over, that was thanks enough. The blizzard howled. Power out. Fireplace crackling. And Rusty, pacing. The wild in him felt the storm, the hunt, the hunger, the need to burrow deep. The Maine Coons huddled under blankets, shivering. Then a whine. Rusty nudged Daisy toward the hearth. Marshmallow next. Oliver last. And when they were settled, he circled them like a sentinel, guarding, providing. Martha's breath caught. Instinct had won. Just not the one they'd feared. Morning light. The storm passed. And there they were. Daisy tucked under Rusty's chin. Marshmallow draped over his back. Oliver sprawled across his paws. No space left between them. No room for doubt. Arthur snapped the photo Martha would frame. Well, he whispered. That's that. Rusty's slow blink said it all. I'm home. It was just a blink. But Martha knew. She'd seen Daisy do it 1,000 times. The ultimate trust. Now Rusty held her gaze. And did it. Eyes closing, opening like a secret handshake. You're safe. I'm safe. We're family. Her tears hit his forehead. He didn't flinch. The way he mirrored them. Grooming Oliver's ears, copying Daisy's regal stare, even trying and failing to fluff his stubby tail like Marshmallow. Not a bobcat playing house. A cat who forgot he wasn't one. Martha laughed through tears. Oh, Rusty, he chirped. Because of course he did. Arthur never said much. But when Rusty brought him a gift, a mangled sock, he beamed. And when Rusty sprawled across his boots at night, he didn't move. Not even to pee. Martha caught him once. Just staring at their odd little family. Worth it? She teased. His smile was answer enough. Seasons changed. Rusty's paws, once clumsy, now moved with quiet precision. Part house cat, part shadow. He herded Oliver away from open doors. Let Marshmallow win grooming battles. Even Daisy, well, she allowed him to share her windowsill. Martha marveled at the ordinary miracle of it. A bobcat who fetched toys, feared rain, and still purred like a chainsaw. The wild in him wasn't gone. The German shepherd came back. Bigger, bolder. Rusty didn't growl this time. He strolled onto the porch, tail high, Daisy, Marshmallow, and Oliver lined up behind him like a furry jury. The dog froze. Rusty yawned. A beat. Then the shepherd tucked tail and ran. Oliver cheered. Daisy smirked. And Marshmallow? Well, that was adequate. Neighbors talked. Isn't that a? Should it be inside? Rusty heard none of it. His world was here. Martha's lap at sunrise, Arthur's boots as a pillow, the cat's tails flicking against him like metronomes. One nosy postman learned the hard way. Rusty's glare through the screen door said everything. Try me. Daisy started it, one lick between Rusty's ears. Then Marshmallow, muttering about split ends, tackled a paw. Oliver, full body wash whether Rusty wanted it or not. By the end, Rusty looked like a half-blown dandelion, fur sticking up in tufts. Martha snapped a photo. Arthur framed it. Proof, he said, that miracles are messy. The vet's yearly visit ended with Rusty stealing his pen. Biologically, he should be stalking deer, Doc admitted. But this, he gestured to Rusty, belly up, getting a raspberry from Oliver. Nature doesn't account for love. Martha handed him a cookie. Good. The back door stood open one August evening. Fireflies blinking, frogs singing. Rusty watched, still as stone. Martha held her breath. Then, Oliver pounced on his tail. Daisy sked. Marshmallow demanded dinner. Rusty turned away from the woods, bumping Martha's knee. Some choices aren't choices at all. Sometimes, Rusty stared too long at the treeline. Martha wondered, did he remember? Then he'd blink, trot to his food bowl, and demand kibble with a mrow that sounded suspiciously like, more, please. Maybe wildness wasn't a place. Maybe it was just a feeling, and feelings change. Arthur found her crying at 3 a.m. What if he misses it? The woods, the hunt, the Marty, Arthur pointed. Rusty was sprawled across their feet, snoring. That ain't a creature missing anything, except maybe more pillow space. Rusty would never be tame. He'd always startle at sirens, dig too hard in the garden, and help with laundry by sitting on it. But when Martha fell ill, he didn't leave her side for 3 days, not even to eat. Just pressed against her, purring like a motorboat. Wild hearts love hardest. Years later, the grandkids would beg for the story. The time Uncle Rusty fought the vacuum. When he hugged the Christmas tree, Arthur would chuckle. Martha would tear up. And the Maine Coons? They'd just sigh as if to say, yes, yes, he was very special. Because some stories don't end. They just become part of the family.